Many times we get to hear that children are underconfident about attempting writing skills. You talk about debate writing, speech writing, report or article. They are confused about the structure. They do not know how to begin with it, how to write an introduction, how to develop on the content, what to talk about in the cause and effect, and how to develop that bond or that connect with the audience or the reader while shaping all those skills. In this video, I'm going to talk about speech writing. It could be a speech that you have to write for your exams. It could be a speech that you have to deliver at a public conference, and it can be used at various other places. So just pay attention till the end so that you are able to understand how to go about making a speech. Number one, whenever you're writing something, it should be able to connect with the audience. It should be able to forge a connect with the audience. Now, how will you do that if you're doing something which is attention grabbing? Many a times we start with a quote. We start with a statement, or we just pick up a quote which has been written by a prominent personality. This is a very cliched beginning. How can you bring in more colors to it? How can you make it more interesting and incredible for the person who is reading it is through these methods. Number one, you could create a visual. You can start creating a visual. You can describe something that you know about which pertains to the topic, and that is how you can go about starting it. Second, you can startle them with a quote which is very, very difficult to digest, something which gives you jitters, which makes you feel that what is the person talking about, right? You could start with something like that, but obviously it should relate with the kind of topic you have chosen to write on. Third, people are very, very interested in listening to stories. So if you're able to establish a connect with them through a story, or if you start off with a personal anecdote, they will be more than interested to read it or listen to you, right? So you can most likely start with an anecdotal experience about things that have happened with you, about things that you've experienced in your life, and that is how you can start your speech making. All right. Now the second point in the introduction is to focus on the destination. Now, when I say focus on the destination, it should not be like you've talked about an incident and then you're lost. You should not get lost in between. You should let the audience know that through this anecdote, you're going to come to this particular theme. This is the theme of your speech making, and this is what you're going to talk about. After you've given a focus to, or the destination has already been declared, you have to create a roadmap. When you give a roadmap, what is a roadmap? What does a roadmap do? It will give you a clear-cut idea, or you can say an outline to what is it that you're going to talk about in this speech. So there is clarity in the mind of the reader, there is clarity in the mind of the speaker, there is clarity in the mind of the listener as well as to what is it that they're going to read or listen to, or in the speaker's case, what is it that he's going to speak about, right? Now, the next point I want to talk about is creating a bond. When you create a bond, when you are touching the lives of people, or you're talking about something right in the beginning which makes them feel that, okay, this speech is not something which is completely factual or descriptive, it is something that they can easily relate with, then your speech has already created that impact. So create a bond with the audience by using certain things, by using certain lines, by using certain anecdotes, which makes them feel that yes, they would want to listen to it further. Speaker credibility is another important point, and this is something that I can vouch for. Speaker credibility means they should be able to believe in what you're saying. They should be able to think that, okay, the person we are listening to has a lot of experience, or he or she has added a lot of feathers in the cap of achievements, and that they have learned a lot of things over the period of time. And how will you do that? When you will talk about your experience at being at a certain place. For example, you've been to a seminar, or you've been with an organization, or you have shown your experience at different places. So what are you going to do? You can bring in that element, and you can let them know that when you were working at that particular place, or when you were a part of this particular organization or this charity or this particular place, there you had learnt about all these things. So this is how you will establish your credibility as a speaker with the audience or the reader. All right, these 4 points, let's quickly take a look at them. Number one, attention grabbing. How will you achieve the attention of the reader or the speaker? It is through starting your speech with either a quote, or present a visual, or startle them with a fact which they probably may not be aware of, or give a personal anecdote. Second point is to focus on the destination. Third is to create a roadmap, and fourth is to establish your own credibility as a speaker. All right. So this was about the introductory part of the speech. Now, always ensure that if you're a student and if you're writing the speech, you are inculcating this habit of using paragraph blocks. What is paragraph block? It is like blocking your entire content into parts. When you block your content into parts means you're leaving a line after each and every paragraph, so that you're categorically letting the person know that this is what I'm talking about in the first paragraph, this is what is being talked about in the second paragraph, and this is how I've ended up with. So it will categorize everything clearly, and it will make it easier for the reader or the listener to listen as well, or to read as well. Now let's move on to the second and the most important part of the topic. What are you going to do in the second part? You will jump to the topic. What is the theme of your speech? What is it that you're talking about? And how will you do it? You should know how to order your points. It should not seem like one point is coming from somewhere and the other point starts off at any point of time. I mean, there should be a connect. So you should be able to order your content, order your points in a logical manner. When you do so, you have to be strong and brief as well. You should not just go with the flow, because you have to subscribe to the word limit as well. So brief and strong points should be presented in a logical manner in the second paragraph of the speech. Third, in this particular paragraph, you can also quote statistical data or interpretations that you have done, or studies that you've read about, or sources that you have known. All these things can be catalogued in this particular paragraph. Now, it's very important to use connecting words. Now, it's like, what is the meaning of connecting words? However, moreover, furthermore, because these are certain words which will connect not just your ideas but also one sentence with the other. So it's very important to use these connecting words. So what is it that we've learned in the second paragraph? What are the things that you're going to be careful about? Number one, you have to order your points logically. Second, you have to be careful about the fact that you are using very impactful sentences. They should be strong and brief. Okay, you don't have to exceed the word limit. Third thing is that you're going to quote statistics, or you're going to quote charts or data or studies, or wherever you've read it from, whatever source of information you have been able to gauge over the period of time. That is what you can include here. And you have to use connecting words. Now moving on to the last bit, that is the conclusion. Conclusion should not be it should not be a cliched once again. It should not be a very dull and typical conclusion, like this is how it should go about, this is how we should do, and I think this or I think that. If you're going to go with things like these, then again, your speech will not have an impact on the reader. It will not make them feel that you've done something different. And in times like these, when we are writing and we're competing with writing with other people as well, when we are writing competitive writings, and we are judged at every point of time. So what do you think you can do at this point of time? I suggest that you can put up questions here. When you put up questions, it will automatically elicit questions and responses in the minds of the audience also. Right? They will also be bound to think as to what you're talking about. They will also feel as if they are being spoken to. They will also feel that they are being talked to and not talked at. Right? So there will be a sense of there will be a sense of thought-provoking dimension towards the end of your speech. They will also be in a mode wherein they've just not taken the content from you. They will also be deliberating on that content, and they will also be reflecting on what they've listened to or what they've read, and they would want to definitely give a thought to it about it. Right? So this is how I feel you should attempt speech writing. Go about like this and do more of reading. When the more you read, the more vocabulary gets expanded, and you get to become more confident about what you're talking about or what you're reading or writing about. So attempt it like this, and I feel you'll be able to do much better than what you've been doing so far. Thank you so much. Do subscribe.